You might want to buckle up, baby.
And now get ready for WTF.
You want to prove once for all that I'm better than you? Strap up.
Bring it on, Big Brother 10, man.
Whose take is first? Brought to you by TireOutlet.com. Wholesale prices, premium service.
That was your first pick? Giant lover.
Talking a little fantasy football here.
Yeah, we were just talking about the Odell Beckham Jr. who got the big money yesterday, $95 million, $65 guaranteed, and you know,
Brooksy said too much, and Prosser said
I said
want
too
him
much
to have
guaranteed.
150 catches this year.
Well,
I drafted him.
I do think this. I think that Odell Beckham Jr., because of the injuries some years, the erratic behavior others, the social media posts, I think that he's probably underappreciated a little bit as a production guy. And you know, I think if Odell Beckham Jr., Julio Jones, and Antonio Brown all played 16 healthy games, that there's very little production difference between them. I think I think those three are kind of a cut above. Would you agree with that? Or is he not belong in that right now?
I'm unnerved right now because somebody on Twitter told me it might be a chupacabra.
No, chupacabras aren't real, and they're in Mexico.
As far as you know.
Yeah.
Chupacabra may be lurking in my house.
Well, Dan,
it's the Jersey Devil.
You couldn't be much further.
Air pocket in the pipes, honey.
Yeah, you're not close
Fine,
enough
honey.
to Mexico to be a
It's probably a
chupacabra.
belt.
It's fine.
I would just go with the
220, 221, whatever it takes.
You know what you should do? You should play a hell of a prank on BWR, and you should have a fake,
chupacabra.
No, what are the people that come over and they, cleanse your house, bless your house, like a
medium?
Exorcism?
Yeah, like an exorcism. You should tell it's true, the house is haunted. You have a guy dressed up as a
Don't worry,
priest.
honey. I got it.
But all eyes will be on week 1, Jalen Ramsey / AJ Boye versus Odell Beckham.
Yeah. We got to go get Odell. I hope he has two catches for 8 yards.
Let me ask you this about Odell, too.
I hope he has 0 catches for no yards.
What happens to your team if he goes down the
I'm in trouble.
Week 1?
Yeah, I took him in fantasy. I was telling these guys. I had the 13th pick. It's not like I took him number 1 overall.
Who'd you get on the back turn?
Keenan Allen.
Oh, you went receiver heavy.
I did.
Wow.
More interest than you've shown in my fantasy team in 12 years, so we can
By the way,
feel free to move
I
on.
know, Dan, I know you didn't see it.
Yeah.
But Jalen Ramsey did tweet out yesterday at 2:30. It's going to be a show very soon. # Batman versus the Joker.
Who's Batman?
I guess he's Batman.
Who's the Joker?
Odell.
Who's Robin?
Well,
I guess
AJ.
The bigger question is who stinks, and according to Jalen, that's Eli. So
yes.
it shouldn't be too tough of an assignment it should be a very easy assignment for Jalen that opening
All right,
week.
we've got work to do. What do you have for me there, Beef?
WTF, obviously, speaking of the Jags.
Yes.
And as always, we encourage the Googans to participate on the text line driven by Duval Ford, 641-1010. One lucky Googan will hook them up with some airport parking from our friends at usapark.net. But the news we all anticipated coming yesterday came down. Marquise Lee is done for the year. Fans seem to be a little divided as to just how big a blow this is. So what say you?
Well, I know Marquise Lee is very well respected, and he's a hard worker, and he's a great blocker, but he's a receiver who, maxes out at 50 catches. It doesn't, I'm not saying this with any vitriol at all, but I don't think it'll make one win or loss difference, quite frankly.
I think the intangible difference, though, losing that guy, because they really – look, I know last year at times, there were games where we had to run out Mickens and Cole, for example. But, he was sort of the leader of that group. And so I think that affects them a little. They are very, very young if you think about who they got left now. You know what I mean? Very young and very inexperienced. So – but if you were going to bring some, let's see what happens on the waiver wire here too on Saturday, right? Because we're going down to 53 on the deal. But production wise, I agree with you. It's not like he's 80 catches, 1,300 yards, and 7 touchdowns. But I feel bad for the kid. He's done everything well, and he was going to stay here, and it's a shame he won't be around for this year.
Yeah. Absolutely, and you hate to see anybody who's Plus, things were just going great for him, right? He got the deal this offseason. He was viewed, as a leader, and so, you feel for Marquise Lee. I just think he's just an average football player, and what you need. Look, you need average football players or slightly above, but I don't think it is the kind that will just derail your season. And I don't think anybody is selling it that way either, in fairness. So it seems to me, wasn't Marquise Lee high in the dropped passes category last year? Why is that sticking out in my
Yes.
mind?
Well, I know he
Right?
dropped the pass against the Jets.
Yes.
No, but I mean, I think he was like top,
Yeah.
like one among
Yeah.
the three worst. I mean,
Yeah.
so look, we all have an affinity here for Marquise Lee. We like him. He's been a great pro. He's
Sure.
friendly. He's good. But this is just an average player here, you know?
Well,
and I think it speaks to the state of your receiving core.
I'll take time here to talk a little bit further about what I think is going to happen this year. And that's, listen, one of the neat things about the Jags last year, and Tom Coughlin has been teaching or preaching this to us since he was the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars back in the 90s. That's something called balance. He loves balance. Balance is the key. It's one of his buzzwords on offense. And he's always been thought of as being one of your better offensive minds in the annals of the NFL. Well, last year the Jaguars hit balance right smack in the middle. You couldn't balance it any better if you took the scales and you wanted them to be exactly even. They put 527 pass attempts on one side and 527 rush attempts on the other side. They were even Steven in balance. But if you break it down a little bit farther, certainly they had 527 rushes, but of the 527 pass attempts and the 316 completions, how many of those went to the running back?
According to NBC Sports, Marquise Lee led the NFL last year with 8 drop passes.
Right.
Thank you.
So, I mean, again,
Right.
you know, that's these things also count in addition to being a great
Right.
leader and a good blocker. I mean, whoever steps in is going to have better hands.
Hey, Julio Jones was T2 with 7.
Oh, of the 316 receptions the Jaguars had last year,
Okay.
almost 100 of them went to the running backs.
That's a little more than I would have thought.
What I'm going, yeah. Well,
I
if
tell
you
you,
start,
I mean,
if you
you-
start adding them up, you've got Leonard Fournette with 36, T.J. Yeldon with 30, that's 66. Ivory had 21, so that's 87.
Bohannon's got to be in there.
Bohannon had 6, that takes you to 93.
He's
Corey
6.
Grant had 3, that's 96.
Only 3 all year. I would have lost money if you asked me which
That's
running
it.
back had the most receptions last year. I would have not said Leonard.
Yeah, Leonard.
I would have
So-
said TJ.
So 96. My point is of the 5. So if they do it roughly the same balance wise, I'm willing to suggest to you of the number 96 will go up, and significantly. I'm not saying it's going to be 98. I'm not saying it's going to be 100. I think it'll be more like 125, 130.
Well, what has it been in the preseason? I mean, it seems like there've been 5 or 6 or 7.
If you went and
a
watched,
game.
if you went and watched, yes, you're right. If
Yeah.
you went and watched the drives back on Saturday, they had one where specifically they used the running backs. I think they're going to use the running backs a great deal. I think they're going to get 2 of the guys out on the field a lot together. And I think if I was game planning, I would be more concerned about the run defensively to stop the Jags. I'd be more concerned about the running backs than I would about the receivers at this point. That's why it's important, though, for these receivers and for Blake. And one thing they didn't do in the preseason, and maybe they'll do it on the first play against the Giants, is play action and throw one deep, stretch the field a little bit.
Yeah.
Because
They've got some guys
I
to
don't
do
think
that.
they threw a deep ball on Saturday. They may have. I don't remember. I don't remember one, though.
I don't
I don't
either.
remember many deep balls at all in the preseason. Do you guys remember them going down the
A
field?
couple. They threw downfield against Minnesota a couple of times, but not like they did last year. Last year, Keelan Cole had a couple of deep catches, 80, 90-yard catches last year in the preseason. So
99 against New England,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Marone said yesterday that Marquise, he certainly wants him to stay around the team. I don't remember him saying that about Allen Robinson last year. Do you remember if that was at all a point of emphasis?
I think Marquise Lee is definitely favored by the staff over Allen Robinson. Just look what happened when the free agency came up for the 2 of them. I mean, Marquise Lee, they paid more than people would have thought, and Allen Robinson, they didn't give the time of day. So, yeah, I don't think Allen Robinson was a great locker room guy here. I don't think your number 1 receiver shouts down your quarterback in a public. That ain't cool. And that didn't help things at this time last year when it was a very sketchy quarterback situation. So, I think that's, I don't think that necessarily speaks negatively to the Robinson. I think it just shows you how much they like Marquise Lee a lot. He's a good team guy. He's battled through a lot. He's been injury prone since he got here, for the most part. Last year, the first and only injury-free year that he was able to play. There was one other big story yesterday when it comes to local football, and we either correctly projected or reported, both these news items. But, it's amazing that 2 schools can make the same decision. And for one, it can be met with excitement, and the other,
Yeah.
And that is, Willie Taggart goes with a familiar face at quarterback, and he
Okay.
goes back to a guy who started before in DeAndre Francois. And if you're an FSU fan, you like that. This is a former offensive rookie of the year in the ACC. He's proven, that he could be a playmaker. Meanwhile, in Gainesville, you go to Felipe Franks, and so if Dan Mullen were trying to curry excitement in favor with the fan base, he's not showing that. He's going to put the guy out there he thinks can best win.
Well, he has to.
But you can't be excited about Felipe Franks. I'm sure there would have been more excitement with either of the other two among the fans.
Yes. But Felipe Franks, I would say this. I would say they probably want. Well, Felipe Franks is more athletic.
He's going to treat him like Tebow, Dan. Can he beat him? Probably not. But that's what he's going to do. He's going to give him 2 quick reads.
You say probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't even. You'll
Yeah.
have to say probably.
Okay, but I mean, I don't mean he's going to win the Heisman, but
No, I know. But
Felipe Franks could run for 1,000 yards next year, out of nowhere.
Is that
No.
the hope that they've simplified the offense and simplified it for
Yeah,
Frank
that-
specifically?
Yeah, that's not the hope. That's the deal. It's going to be a 2-read offense. You either hand it or run it.
I've had
Felipe?
I've had. God knows we've had our share of disagreements on this program, and what makes the show fun and spirited, and I enjoy
And
it.
hateful. And
Sometimes hateful personally, but
Yeah.
the public enjoys it. So we do what's best for everyone.
stings the nostrils.
Yes, but I couldn't I just don't see Felipe Franks
I don't know why.
as
You're
a
the only one.
runner.
You're
I
the
know.
only one. You're the only guy.
I hope that.
He ran it in the spring game for 100 yards. He ran it against Texas A&M.
I am.
But he especially
Yeah.
doesn't seem like a runner with Butters McDodo running him as Drew Bledsoe.
I will hand you $1,000 if Felipe Franks runs for 1,000 yards.
Look, I'm embellishing. He is
Yeah.
going to run the ball 50 or 60
Which is
yards
pretty cool.
a game.
And
That's
he
what
should.
they do.
Well, they have to. But
Yeah.
I see him more. I just see him more as a lumbering.
No, he's athletic, dude.
Yeah.
Lumbering at that position for
That's
that
fine.
job works.
No, I get that.
Because Tebow didn't have a lot of 80-yard runs. He
not-
got the big 6 and 7 and 12 yarders.
Yeah, but he was the man of steel. Nobody holds up like
that's
that
true too.
anymore.
And he played harder than you knew when he was
yes, he was one tough hombre, if you will.
there. It's clear with this decision that
You know,
he's going to use him as a
how
runner.
many yards
though.
did Franks run for last year?
Not many. We looked this up, 100 and something.
Less.
But you lose it. That's
Well, yeah.
you lose him on sacks, and he got sacked a ton.
58 attempts for 20 yards.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's silly because he ran for 80 on one play. So
Pretty
He's
cool.
obviously,
sacked
And that
29
ga-
times.
In that game, he had 9 for 82.
yeah. The
In
sacks
college,
and-
they take away the yards.
Right.
when
Here's where Gator fans' hope needs to lie. It's not in a new player; it's in a new coach.
How many yards did he pass for last year?
Not many.
This is along the lines of why no one's excited about it.
Right? He was terrible.
1,438 yards.
He got terrible coaching, Dan. He got a coach to try to make him something he wasn't.
Correct.
And Dan Mullen is going to make him something that he is. He's going to. I don't see why he can't be Nick Fitzgerald or, that kind of player
Yeah.
who is a huge upgrade from the kind of production that they've got.
Here's my problem. Against UAB,
Yeah.
15 of 30.
Yeah, I know.
50% completion
Again,
against UAB.
You have to listen to me. I think we're way, way, way under thinking.
Mhm.
There's a change in strategy and play calling and design
Understood.
that can change all of those things.
Hope you're right.
Butters McChompers was a flat out blooming moron who who Felipe Franks was held unaccountable to. Felipe Franks not once, not twice, 3 times in the same game rolled out to the right and chose to take a 7 or 8 yard loss instead of dumping the ball out of bounds and losing it down. And did Butters do anything? Or did he just stand over there like, that's pretty cool, Clarabelle,
cool.
get in there? I
Yeah.
mean,
I think I would feel better if he had been named the starter a while ago. I think the fact that it's been drawn out makes me think that Felipe is not emerging as this
I don't think
excellent
anybody-
decision maker.
Now, I will say this. Generally, from year 1 to year 2, for anyone, there's an improvement factor. So, but you're right. It's certainly not an exciting thing, but it's all about winning games this year, however you can win football
If
games.
a-
It's about getting back to bowls. It's about trying to reestablish. But most importantly for Dan Mullen, it's about offense. It's about showing some creativity. It's about not being boring. It's about showing kids that, hey, I can go there. That looks like fun. Hey, I want to play for those guys.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
No,
because
I
this
agree.
is his last, this is where he's got to show it to convince kids again that, hey, Florida's okay. It's not just DBU.
Dan, I had On the text line driven by Duval Ford, question is brings it full circle.
Yes.
Dan, is it possible that the rumbling you heard in your walls was the collective sigh from Florida fans after the Franks announcement?
Yeah, I don't know what Gator fan expected. You don't have 3 superstars. This ain't Hurts and Tua down there you're deciding among.
Not Hurts and Tua.
So, yeah,
and
I think we're going to find out what kind of coach Dan Mullen is, because any improvement you see from Felipe Franks is not due to Felipe Franks. Anything, however much better he is next year or this year, if he is, Dan Mullen gets all of the credit, every single bit of it, because
I believe I can win with my dog Clarabelle.
Please stop playing that guy. Let him ruin Michigan and leave us alone.
This is the drill.